Bene, compresa.
Honorable members, His Excellency the Governor and Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, remain standing for the national anthem and the East African Community.
Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tulilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Excellency, Excellency the Governor, honorable members, let us commit the sitting number 002 to prayer. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the office of the leaders and the county assemblies for the welfare of the society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servant, whom you have been pleased to call for the performance of the important trust in this department. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that you treat and consider all matters, all matters that shall come under our deliberation be so just and faithful, the manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country, and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen. Excellency, the Governor, honorable members, the House is comprised of 32 members, and the quorum for a sitting is 11 members. I can now confirm that we have quorum to proceed with this sitting. Clerks, read the next order.
Order number 2, convocation.
Your Excellency, the Governor, honorable members, the County Assembly of Taita Taveta standing order number 18/1 provides the Governor shall address the opening of each newly elected County Assembly. Honorable members of County Assembly, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's now my honor and privilege to invite the third Governor of the County of Taita Taveta, His Excellency Mwadime, to address this afternoon sitting and the official opening of the third County Assembly. Your Excellency, you can now address the House.
Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable members of this Assembly, it is with immense pleasure and honor that I, the third Governor of the County of Taita Taveta, stand before you, this House today, on this auspicious occasion of the official opening of the third Assembly of the County. To perform my mandate pursuant to the County Governments Act of 2012 and this County Assembly Standing Order 18 subsection 1 to officially address and open the first sitting of this Honorable Assembly. Before I embark on giving my address and subsequent opening of the County Assembly, allow me to first of all congratulate you, Mr. Speaker, sir, Honorable Wisdom Mumuri, for being elected the second Speaker of this Assembly. And also to send my heart congratulations to Honorable Mwadime Chao for being voted as the Deputy Speaker. I also congratulate all members of County Assembly for your election and nomination by your various ward electors and political parties, respectively, to represent them in this noble House. While at it, allow me also to congratulate and recognize the presence of other leaders of this country who have successfully been elected into office, starting with my able Deputy Governor, Honorable Christine Kilalo, our Senator, Honorable Jonas Moruma, our Women Representative, Honorable Lydia Haika, Mwadime MP, Honorable Danson Moshako, Mwatate MP, Honorable Peter Shake, Boy MP, Honorable Hamis Chome Abdi, and Taveta MP, Honorable John Okano Wire. It is my hope and prayer that we will indeed diligently serve the people of Taita Taveta while we obey, respect, uphold, preserve, protect and defend the Constitution of Kenya and discharge our duties to all faithfully and with fairness. I realize too that this task comes with equally huge expectations interpretation of me as the one of the steering wheel, plus every other single leader of this county with whom we must work together in light of Article 6, subsection 2 of the Constitution of Kenya, which requires us to conduct our business on the basis of constant consultation, cooperation, na amani, upendo na maendeleo kwa wote. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of this assembly, it is my sincere wish that the county executive and county assembly will establish a robust relationship, seamless communication and feedback mechanisms that will enhance service delivery. Previously, the county has missed several investment opportunities, but in my government, I want to promise and assure investors that Taita Taveta is a potential home to all investors. I have assented into law the Taita Taveta County Investment and Development Corporation Bill 2022 and the Taita Taveta County Special Bill 2021 that was developed by the Chamber of Commerce Chairman Mr. Andrew Mwamburi and Bill Lane, founder of the Taita Taveta Investment Forum, among others, and to effect the same bills. I've set up an investment office right next to mine that is of international standards to handle and coordinate investment and resource mobilization. I have an open door policy for investors and donors whom we can work with because they are vital instruments of development. As I said in my inauguration speech, anyone who brings an investor for my successful venture will be rewarded. My idea of having an investor that is willing and able to collaborate with investors is inspired to ensure that the people will have enough jobs and the county will have enough revenue, thus our youth shall be empowered through strategic partnerships to receive employment opportunity and also start their enterprises. Gender empowerment and equity shall also be witnessed. We have already started the transition as a county into the third government. During this period of transition, I'm keen on putting in place structures that will work. Because once you have the right structures, government operation will flow smoothly. Part of these structures will be appointment of the right men and women in the various positions and offices. And I dare to say that this will purely be based on meritocracy, professionalism, and experience, while considering other constitutional requirements such as inclusivity in the areas of gender, geographically marginalized persons, and other provisions. Towards achieving this, Mr. Speaker, I've already done some appointments in the Governor's office over the last 3 weeks, and also advertisement for positions of CECMs have already been set out. I have a message to all officers that are, and those that will serve in my administration. I expect nothing but absolute commitment towards all efforts to serve the great people of Taita Taveta. I expect nothing but the highest ethical standards expected of them as set out in the Constitution and other laws and statutes of the Republic of Kenya. From them, I expect zero tolerance to corruption, all forms of money practices. I expect them at all times to be accessible to the people, just as I and my deputy governor pledged during our campaigns. At the same time, I expect them to remain authentic and bring on the table their diverse perspectives, and I encourage them to disagree if and when they have to, without fear of retaliation or victimization, because it is only in an atmosphere where truth and honest feedback prevail that individuals can bring out the best in them. This and only this is a propellant that can take a beloved country back to the upward trajectory that we all desire to see. Mr. Speaker and the honorable members, in years, we found ourselves on the other side of history in this country for failing to agree. We've been having unnecessary fights between the executive and the county assembly. The saddest part about such infight is that the Mwananchi suffers most in the process because service delivery is delayed or interrupted and the misuse of public funds on shuttle diplomas journeys. It is my sincere wish that in my government and the honorable member of the county assembly, we shall have a robust relationship, good communication and feedback mechanism that will enhance service delivery to the people of Taita Taveta County. Alignment of the county integration development plan with our manifesto. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the first schedule of the Constitution of Kenya assigns us 14 functions that are devolved and are therefore our duty to the people. Based on this function and the need to steer our country forward towards social, economic advancement for all our people, we made certain pledges to the people of Taita Taveta in our campaigns, manifesto, and we put our best foot forward in ensuring that we fulfill them. My transformation agenda for the people of this county will begin by aligning my manifesto with CIDP. The County Integrated Development Plan, CIDP, is a 5-year plan that acts as our general compass, strategy, and roadmap. It is important that its content goes hand in hand with our manifesto. The process has begun, and my Deputy Governor, Ms. Christine Kilalo, has from last week taken charge of several meetings that were set to plan the process. My government will make sure that the process involves the Mwananchi and will be done openly and with a lot of public participation. With the baton of leadership having been handed over to me and to us, it is my utmost desire that we will build on the positives of the legacies of my predecessors, the two governors that have been here before me. The best we can do is to carefully sieve and identify the projects that we can run with, as we work on improving them to optimize and maximize the benefits that reach our citizens. Taita Taveta as a county is strategically placed. It is a hub that connects the East African countries and Africa with a connection of roads and the standard gauge railway. Allow me to say that with this strategic placement, my government shall take advantage and see to it that we capitalize on and reap full benefits from this position of advantage. Interestingly, according to a recent World Bank funded research, Taita Taveta is the fourth richest county in terms of endowment of natural resources, including the finest and most precious gemstones like ruby, green garnet, rhodolite, to name but a few. We also pride ourselves with the largest national park in the country. The Savo East and West, Taita Taveta is also the home of the highest peak in coast region, Guria Hill, and closest to the highest peak in Africa, Mount Kilimanjaro. God has blessed this county with the most God-fearing, hard-working, and intelligent people with unique cultures. Having taken the government recently, I am glad to inform you that already I've made sure that the county government employees have been paid 2 months' salaries that was in arrears, and I will work tirelessly to make sure that they are always paid on time, motivated, and also trained. It would be good to also inform the House that we have a donor who is working on digitalization of the hospital information system. This will surely work on streamlining the health system and improve revenue collection in our hospitals. That having been said, allow me to now get direct into the various sectors that we are keen on focusing on: education, labor, and manpower development. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the early childhood development education and vocational training centers are squarely the responsibility of the county government. Drawing from the Sustainable Development Goals of 2015, Goal 4 on quality education, as well as the Constitution of the Kenya 2010 on the Bill of Rights, it's our duty to ensure that we establish strong foundation for our children and the ECD to give them a fair and competitive edge against other children, even as they climb up the education ladder. It goes without saying that when building any structure, the foundation is pivotal to the overall stability of the structure. My predecessors ensured that ECD buildings have been put in place, and for that I commend them. However, empty buildings without requisite facilities and quality human resources will be efforts in vain. We will therefore embark on ensuring that ECD teachers are well trained, retrained, and sufficiently motivated to be able to offer the best to the children. We shall also ensure that the feeding programs in the ECDs are sustainable to guarantee the health of our children as they learn and grow. We will also be looking towards manning the VTCs with adequate and highly qualified trainers, and also availing quality machinery and equipment so that the students graduating from them are adequately prepared for the job market or ready for self-employment. This is in cognizance of the fact that the majority of our population is made up of young people, yet unemployment remains rife in the county and Kenya at large. For starters, this past week, my government had very fruitful sessions with the partners like the German Society for International Cooperation, GIS, which together with other partners such as the European Union and CAPEL have in the past implemented training among youth in our county in various causes. We will continue engaging them as well as other partners in the area of education and manpower development. In this regard, I am counting on the county assembly to engage with me and approve necessary legislation in this area to firm up the quality of education in our county. Trade and investment. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, you will agree with me that for he owns Taita Taveta County has been described as the sleeping giant, despite the abundance of natural and other resources that our county produces. The Kenya Vision 2030 envisions industrialization as among the key drivers that will spur our economic growth, and counties are not an exception. Taita Taveta County is strategically positioned near the port of Mombasa and is transcended by the beauty Mombasa-Nairobi. It is a node with the bigger minerals and has great potential for agriculture in both crop production such as bananas, nuts, French beans, among others, as well as for livestock production, owing to our ranches and the fact that we are a disease-free county for livestock rearing. There is therefore great potential for value addition industries in the mining and agricultural sectors, which will include both large and cottage industries, such as leather processing. We envision that our industry will be fed with raw materials from our own county, which will ensure that the funds will be available to everyone in the area of production. My government is already engaging key partners and investments, both internal and external, some of whom we have already met and some that we are set to meet in the coming weeks. The County Assembly will be kept abreast with all these negotiations and developments. I must commend the Second County Assembly for passing a number of bills on county investment, which will help to streamline our investments environment, making Taita Taveta a reputable economic hub. Expansion of industrialization, Mr. Speaker, sir, is invested to spur other sectors of the economy, such as infrastructure, housing, as well as the empowerment of MSMEs and SMEs. The effect is to have a trickle-down economy, which ensures the economy empowerment of all citizens, which in turn enhances the revenue collection for the county, thus enabling us to invest even more in the development of our county. With all our concerned efforts, Taita Taveta County should, in the next 5 years, serve as a beacon and trade hub that other counties will seek to benchmark in. Honorable members, this is, in my deepest conviction, lawful. This will, however, not be possible without intensive research that will inform our investment options and choices. I therefore call upon this Honorable House to extend its value, support, and cooperation towards these goals. Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable members, some of the loudest cries in our county have been directed towards the health sector, which has been on a free fall over the many years. This in spite of the fact that healthcare access is a fundamental right of every person, recognized by the Constitution of Kenya, Article 43, as well as other international treaties and conventions to which Kenya is a signatory. Owing to the seriousness of the road and all that ails the health sector, as I personally, as part of my very first activities after my swearing in, undertook several impromptu visits to Moi Referral Hospital and other hospitals in the county. The challenges witnessed range from lack of facilities and staffing, lack of equipment and drugs, lack of proper systems, and even corruption and outright theft of drugs, other non-pharmaceutical consumables and equipments. As a result, and to be able to mitigate this, my government has decided to undertake the following: improve on the working conditions and the working environment of the healthcare staff of all cadres and supplying them with the proper, safe, functional equipment. Ensure that the leadership of the health department is made of professionals from the health sector who needless to say, best understand the operations of the department. Establishment of an operational health information management system which should streamline the operation of the department and which will also aim to nab corruption, which has largely paralyzed the department's function. Set aside funds to ensure availability of drugs in all health facilities. My government will also ensure that emphasis is put on and resources directed towards preventive health care, including sensitizing the masses of health living. This comes at the backdrop of the fact that in the past, a lot of emphasis has been put on curative health care to the detriment of preventive health care, which is equally important, especially noting that the burden of disease in our county is largely from lifestyle diseases, which can be avoided and managed in many ways. My government is also alive to the fact that there is a new epidemic that is suddenly eating our people, and that is the area of mental health. To this end, I'll appoint a task force on mental health issues to look into the issue and come up with the possible solutions to this. It is imperative that the County Assembly support these efforts, especially when it comes to legislation of such and related matters. Water and sanitation. Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable members, water is a basic commodity and a right to every citizen. Pursuant to the SDGs and the Constitution of Kenya, it is pitiful that while Taita Taveta has some of the biggest water resources, including the Mzima Springs, Lake Chan and Jimpe, Joro Springs amongst others, most people are surviving on little that water that has to be fetched from areas far from where they normally reside. I especially emphasize with our mothers and girls who traditionally are the ones most charged with the duty of fetching this precious community. My government will work with several donors and investors, including those that have been supporting us, such as the World Bank, the Red Cross, among others, to build check dams, to rehabilitate and seed dams, including Kigombo, Kisheni, Mwatate dams, and others, as well as to complete stormwater projects. Other efforts will also be focused on rainwater harvesting in every home and the rehabilitation of water resources. This will, however, require the participation of the county assembly to ensure restoration of wetlands, protection of rivers and riparian lands, against encroachment and recovery of freshwater, biodiversity, including letting rivers flow naturally. Anyone who has seen the state of the famous Mtomogodi will bear me witness of how dire this situation is. Perennial water shortages in this county must become a thing of the past. Agriculture and livestock. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the economic survey of 2022 and other previous surveys have continually placed agriculture as the backbone of our economy and the main source of livelihood for most of our households and farmers, not just for employment and business, but also for subsistence farming. However, the agricultural potential of our county remains largely tapped and exploited. Farmers at all levels are grappling with the harsh realities of climate change, which has led to failed rains for several seasons now, making a lot of our people vulnerable to famine and hunger. My government will, together with our partners, seek to offer temporary reprieve to the most vulnerable populations that are facing starvation as we work towards long-term and sustainable solutions. The other challenges that we have noted in agriculture are an unaffordable farm inputs, poor storage facilities for farm produce, poor transport of farm produce to the markets, inadequate access to the trade facilities and the markets for our farmers' produce, catalyzed by influx of farm produce from outside the county at the expense of our local farmers. There is also wide exploitation by middlemen and agents as far as produce like milk, macadamia nuts, banana, French beans, among others are concerned. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, we cannot overemphasize the fact that most of the industries that we are looking to establish have an already waiting raw material base from our local farmers. If they are supported by the government, this will also ensure that value addition is done on our local products before they leave this country. Therefore, my government will put a special focus on subsidizing and availing farm inputs as well as provision of extension services to farmers. My government will pursue establishment of cold storage facilities to minimize wastage of farm produce. Agriculture cannot be separated from availability of water. My government will promote use of innovation and technology in farming. The County Assembly will also come in handy in complementing my efforts by legislating and making appropriate policies to caution farmers from middlemen and unfair competition from farm supplies that come in from outside the country. Cooperatives which act as a major catalyst in the agroeconomy have also largely been attended to and have for years been poorly managed, thus do not benefit farmers as they should. My government is committed to resuscitating the cooperative societies from which farmers can enjoy the gains of collective bargaining power and the protection from exploitation. Culture, sports, youth, women, social services, and persons with disabilities. Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable members, the Constitution of Kenya has pronounced itself on the matter of inclusivity and diversity among us, the people of Kenya. My administration is alive to one of the principles of devolution on the 2/3 gender rule. I commit to another that all the appointment that will be done in my administration will be compliant with this principle and will also have a place for the youth and the people living with the disabilities as well. By law, each county is expected to allocate at least 30% of all tenders and procurement of which to women, youth, and people living with a disability. By implementing these provisions to the latter, my administration will empower this important component of our population. These special groups in our community face unique challenges in fending for themselves and accessing their livelihoods. My government will initiate projects and programs aimed at supporting and empowering the women, youth, and people living with disabilities through promotion of affirmative action in hiring, training, and funding, among other opportunities. My government will also ensure that it puts in place mainstreaming policy for all the affirmative action groups within the next 6 months. In sports, Mr. Speaker, sir, my government will complete the construction of all major stadia in each sub-county, and we will also embark on structured playing arenas all across the country. Once neglected, some sports like basketball, volleyball, netball, tennis, and others will also invest in the development of talents, especially the creative and performing arts, and we will specifically establish a county talent development center. We will also promote our counter situation business for sports tourism. We will also support initiatives that promote Taita and Tabeta cultural practice, traditions, songs, and dances. Land, natural resources, human, wildlife conflict. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, land is a very sensitive and emotive issue, not only in this county, but across Kenya as a whole. It's very unfortunate, Mr. Speaker, sir, the past administrations have been unable to secure and register all community lands as provided for by the Community Lands Act. My administration will work with the national government to ensure that all community lands are secure and registered, as well as ensuring that all our public streets have the title deeds issued to them. On natural resources, Taita Taveta sits on a rich deposit of natural resources, including the fact that 62% of our land lies within the Southeast and Southwest National Park, yet the county does not receive any share of the fruits from these vast resources. I will work with the national government to push for the establishment of a national reserve through which our country can earn, as well as ensure payments of royalties from builders mined from our land is done to the county. Our people, especially in the lowlands, have for long suffered in the hands of wild animals due to persistent human-wildlife conflict, which has led to loss of lives, injuries, properties, among other losses. This needs an urgent and lasting solution. My administration has already started talks with the Kenya Wildlife Services and will continue seeking the indulgence of the relevant national government bodies to get the long-awaited reprieve to my people. Solid waste management. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, one of the most pressing and pertinent issues for which a solution is to be urgently found is solid waste management in our county. Many of our public spaces have become an eyesore due to careless dumping of such waste. Suffice to say, the county dump site on land Chakaleri is not only a nuisance to the road users and a shame to our county, but poses serious health issues to the people who live in those environments. Efforts to have the dump site moved to a more suitable place have in the past failed. My administration will once again engage the county assembly and the public at large to ensure that the dump site is moved as soon as possible. Waste has largely been a source of income for some individuals and groups. My administration will engage partners to support groups that engage in the business of sorting and recycling of plastic and glass waste, among others, as we seek for proper ways to discard e-waste, which is highly hazardous. Involvement in the public in the matters of the county government. Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable members, public participation is a right of every Kenyan, as enshrined in the Constitution of Kenya 2010 and the County Government Act 2020. I'm privy to the fact that various forms of public engagement have in the past been undertaken. However, there's a difference between engaging the public meaningfully and using as a mere rubber stamps for decisions already made by governments. My government will establish a full-fledged public participation unit which will be charged with involving the Mwananchi effectively in government affairs, as well as giving due feedback to the Mwananchi. I sincerely hope that the County Assembly too will join me in the efforts to ensure that the public are not left out. In this, I choose to follow the old adage that says that there is nothing for us or about us without us. The county government will be making decisions for and on behalf of the Mwananchi, and it is fair that they have a say in what they want done and how best it can be done. In addition, in order to maintain touch with my grassroots supporters, I commit myself to having in each one at least 2 town hall meetings each year. In these meetings, which I have dubbed Kutana na Wakuja, I expect to have direct contact with my people, where I'll be accompanied only by a representative from the national government, a representative from the MP, and a representative from the MCA. My leaving out county government staff from this engagement is deliberately intended to allow Mwananchi to freely give their complaints and comments, some of which may touch on the conduct of county government employees directly to me. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable members, the Mwananchi made a decision on the 9th of August 2022, a decision that was given by the hunger and the desire for change. Let me underscore this once again, that the citizens have very high expectation of us. The revolution has existed for the last 10 years to move services closer to the Mwananchi and give them an opportunity for self-governance. That the fruits of the revolution are yet to ripen among us of citizens. Stings in my conscience, and I hope that applies to all of us leaders present here today. I wish to reiterate that we cannot continue to do things the same way we did when we failed. We cannot afford to appear at the end tail of every good list in the country. We have the ability to work together as leaders to change the fortunes of our people. Governments exist for the people. It is a social contract that we have been given by these citizens from among all those who contested this election. The lives of these people are therefore in our hands, and I hope and pray that we understand what that means. To literally carry the lives over 349,000 people of this county in our hands. The duty ahead is heavy and sensitive, but we can do it. It is time to put on our boots, roll our sleeves up, and start working for the people of this county. Because in leadership, there are no holidays. Once again, I congratulate you for election as leaders and members of this August House, and urge you to search deep within your consciences and realize that work must be done, and that a county must be run. And no one else is coming to do that for us. It is my wish that we work together towards realizing the dreams of every citizen of this country. At the end of the day, we will be judged by what we did and what we stood for. It is therefore my greatest pleasure to declare that the 23rd Taita Taveta County Assembly officially opened.
honorable members, I now invite Honorable Mwadime, the Deputy Speaker of the